Good morning and welcome to the presentation. My name is Venn. I'm a senior here at East Long Meadow High School, and I took part in an independent study block during the day where I got to work on my senior project, which topic is prosthesis design and research. Before I tell you about my project, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm the Regional Secretary of the Western Mass Association of Student Councils and have been for the past 2 years. I'm part of the East Long Meadow High School's Environmental Club and run cross country. When it came to selecting a topic, I had a lot to choose from in the world of biomechanical engineering. So I looked at a few things, such as adjustable prosthetics, biomechatronics, which is the merging between man and machine, swimming and sports prostheses, environmentally friendly prostheses, and while looking at all these, I had to take into account the target market and how accessible they would be to me as a high schooler with today's technology. So a few research things to give you a background on my topic. What is a prosthesis? It's a device intended to assist with amputation and performance in daily life. The demand is high because over 2 million people in the United States suffer from limb loss today, and that accounts to over $8 billion in cost with all of them annually. And the main topic focus here is osseointegration, which is the merging between bone and to make things whole, which comes from the Greek word osseo and the Latin word integrate. I also had to look at the materials and everything to see how I would make my prostheses. My first stop along the senior project journey was at Western New England University. I got in contact with Robert Gettins, the head of the biomedical engineering department, and he matched me with Paul and Nick, who are 2 seniors there, working on their senior project, which was an aquatic prosthetic for the disabled adults at the YMCA. So it was really cool working with them because I got to research with them, observe them in labs, presentations, and help them out with some assignments. Their project is full year, so they're going to be actually making their prosthetic next semester, so I hope to shadow them while they do that too. I also job shadowed at Surtech Medical Systems in the Deer Industrial Park in East Long Meadow, but it doesn't just stop there because they distribute to companies all over the world in places like Israel. That was kind of neat. I met with Matthew Hogan, who is the manager there, and I signed a contract of confidentiality, so I couldn't take any pictures. But I got some pictures off their website, and I'd like to show you a few. This right here, their #1 products are the pacemaker and the defibrillators here. And one cool thing that I got to do there was actually make these incisions using a mechanical laser machine. So you put in the measurements of the computer, and then you actually put your hands in these rubber gloves and get to go into a helium-filled laser machine. So that was really neat. And I met with a paid intern, a mechanical dispenser, a machines project manager, and a biomechatronics specialist. I also had a job shadow at Hanger Prosthetics and Orthotics in downtown Springfield, where I met with Thomas Mezick, a certified prosthesis. There he told me they make mostly braces, but they also make a Comfort Flex knee socket, which is very patient-oriented and helps them to move better and increase flexation in the prosthetic. I went in his labs, patient rooms, and machine section, and learned about product distribution and worked on a flexion contractor knee for a woman who was in a wheelchair for 30 years and couldn't open her legs, so they had to readjust her whole leg prosthetic because it's just been stable for so long. My favorite part of the senior project was going to the Aquatic Therapy and Rehab Institute conference in Canton, Mass, which was run through the Massachusetts Hospital School. I was the first high school student to ever attend, and it was really neat to get to work with people who are older and more experienced in therapy and rehab and everything. It was a 2-day thing, so on Saturday, October 19th, I went to the Intro to Aquatic Therapy and Rehab, and on Sunday the 20th, I went to the Total Joint Replacement Specialty Certificate class. Overall, it was 15 credited hours to learn about joint movements, conditions for treatment, the physics and biology behind therapy, and gait patterns. I also learned about PubMed, which is a great research website that I got to conduct a lot of my case study research on after I went there. And I learned the connection between prosthetics and physical therapy. All right, as for my final design, I know it's a lot to take in, but I had to narrow it down to one major problem in prosthetics today. So the problem I chose was worldwide, 50% of amputations occur in people with diabetes. And as you may know, diabetes is caused by obesity, lack of exercise, poor diet. And also another problem that I saw was that we're talking about statistics, most amputations, over 60% are lower extremity, and over 50% of those master their prosthetic in a matter of months to years to a couple of years and look to ski or swim or hike or do something active, but that requires a whole replacement of their entire prosthetic, which can cost thousands of dollars and be very harmful to the joint that they're replacing it with. My solution is what I call the easy shape prosthetic. by doing this, I researched different soles and different ways to make just the foot of the prosthetic work to exercise the whole entire body. So what I took was the Sketcher shape-up design, which uses the rubber sole, and I made that over a regular prosthetic. So it attaches to the already made hydraulic ankle and works just as a normal prosthetic would, but it exercises all the muscles in your entire body and increases heart rate and just gets you moving. Why not the Sketcher shape-up? Well, they actually have a lot of problems with their design, and one of the reasons I think that is because it's not customer made. It's not customers' interests aren't in their best mind. So if we made this product, it would be designed for the consumer specifically, and it would take their measurements, it would take their needs, it would take their comfort level, and it would take that into account so you could make it just for them. Some of the short-term goals I had for this project were to come up with a problem with prostheses today, develop a solution, create a rough design through CAD, which I did with Mr. Green, who's a graphics teacher here. I used my measurements too, just so I could learn how to put in everything, and research materials and past designs, and recognize the target market. I wanted to make a prototype, but I didn't get to that as well. And some of my long-term goals were to conduct consumer surveys, produce a test model, get 510K regulated by the FDA, and to produce a product. Obviously, those are a little far-fetched, but I wanted to make some long-term goals, just in case I want to continue this over summer or even during college. I also used everything I learned in this semester. ATRI taught me about the obesity problem and need for exercise in amputees. Hanger taught me about a patient, Clara Gardner, who's from Northampton, and her prostheses she mastered in a matter of months, and she wanted to look for exercises, so she started walking up hills, and she got injured doing that. So I was thinking, hey, maybe we could come up with something else. Surtech taught me about the hydraulic ankle and how it can easily attach to any prosthetic foot. And Winnick taught me about manufacturing, survey goals, project planning, and to keep my original sketches just for reference. In conclusion, I had a lot of benefits to the senior project. I love the senior project here. For instance, as you heard about my WPI interview, me and the interviewer really connected on that level because she's the senior project manager at the university, and we just talked for so long about it, and she was very impressed with the design that we have and the way we motivate students to do better. Also, Hanger Prosthetics and Orthotics, as I mentioned before, the manager and owner there was very impressed with the design and everything that we were doing through the senior project, and he said, as soon as I complete 2 years of post-secondary education, I can come back there for an internship, and he would write me a letter of recommendation. So I also gained amazing background knowledge in the field that I now know I want to spend the rest of my life doing, because I feel confident that this is what I'm passionate about and this is what I want to do. As for future plans, I want to get a degree in biomedical engineering and become an instrumental engineer making prosthetics and medical devices. If you have any questions, thank you for listening. I'd be happy to take them at this time.
Wow, Sarah. That was really great.
Thank you.
How much time did you spend going to all these different places for research? How much of your extra time?
Winnick was a lot of time. I don't want to say, it was very difficult working with seniors because I kind of just had to sit on the sidelines, but they did take some of my research into account, which was kind of nice. It was kind of cool to see it up on the... They had presentations every other Friday, so I'd leave school when I had this. It actually coordinated with our block scheduling, so I got to leave school early and just go down. I got to go down there, and it was very amazing. It was a great experience. As for the other things, I only went to a couple times, but I stayed in contact through emails and discussions, and then the ATRI was a full weekend.
Was Surtech through the externship or the career center, or is that something you initiated?
I researched different places to go and contacted him. He was really tough to get into contact with.
Sarah, how did you come up, was this something that you have always thought about in terms of diabetes as a malady across the country, or is this something that as you started to look into prosthetics that you said, oh, that's an area that really needs some more research?
Well, I've always known that it's been a problem,
okay.
And actually I feel like I read or saw something on Special in the beginning of the year about how like Scotland was suffering from an obesity epidemic, and I was like, how is that an epidemic? That is a self-controlled thing for most people. There's obviously disease and stuff out of our reach, but then when I went to the ATRI conference, we actually got to go in the pool and be with some older people who had obesity or who had like that hands-on experience, and I was like, their life is really tough. They have to change their entire prosthetic to be able to just get in the pool to do their exercise. Like, they could be doing this on land. They could, like, of course it's cool to swim, but I thought there could be alternative methods to it after that conference.
So would someone wear the Easy Shape, that would be their main prosthetic? Is that your intent for the design, or?
No, my intent, I just did the whole leg so I could get familiar with the engineering drawing design because I've never used it before and I thought it would be a good background to have. What I would actually design is the foot that would go onto the hydraulic angle, and which is actually very simple. It's just the a prosthetic, as you can see in the foot in the bottom right picture, is just a metal thing. So if you increase the angle at the bottom toe and fill that with the rubber sole, it would still be walkable and it would still be efficient to exercise.
And you made that design in a class with Mr. Green, or did you see him
No, I
separately?
did. I saw him separately, and he helped me out a few times. And I took a little YouTube class and learned how to.
So you taught yourself how to do these designs?
Yeah. Well, I had a mentor, and that's what I loved about this is I had a lot of mentors who helped me along the way, which was great.
Oh, that's good that you went after the mentors. And that's the way you learn the best, is to find, that's great, fantastic.
I don't know
Especially
anything until
local, to find local, so
Yeah.
one in Deer Park, there's a prosthetic company?
Yeah,
I
who
didn't know
knew?
that, yeah.
It was.
That's great.
You went after them until they finally connected with you?
Yeah. I didn't take no for an answer. They were probably. Don't ask them about me. You know.
Great.
Fantastic job.
Good, very nice job.